Good evening, dear friends, and welcome. Welcome. Come on board. Let's go right 8 o'clock sharp, 8 o'clock ET. Let's get going right now. So much to talk about. And welcome to this. I don't know what you want to call this. I don't know what it is that we're saying. I don't know what this is about. I do, but let me just start off by saying why I love this. Let me see if I can do a little groundwork in case you're brand new, in case you say, let me see what these people are talking about. Number one, you can be of any political denomination you want as you enter this conspiratorium when it comes to Candace and Erika or whatever you want to call this. Number one. Number two, our focus, what I'm here to talk about, which because we could talk about a lot of things. We could talk about politics or geopolitical or Middle East, but we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about something different. We're talking about the Candace Owens, Erika Kirk, and then this I don't want to say conspiracy because that word's used too much, but let me explain this. As I told you yesterday, there are four components to what we talk about. Number one, there's the actual shooting of Charlie from the criminal point of view, the facts, the evidence, culpability, how you prove it, who was where, who did what, that sort of thing. That's the first part about the case itself. The second issue is, well, who did it? Did Tyler Robinson do it alone? Was he involved? Not at all. Was it a conspiracy, a combination, a confederation of Tyler and somebody else? Was it some other faction that we don't know about? So it's really the identity of the culprit or culprits, agency, so to speak. The third one was why. That's a difficult one. May I suggest to you that the why part is a dead end, and it sends you off into the road of dead ends and rabbit holes and maybe does it not? It does not matter. And the fourth issue is, of course, Erika, who is just that's my favorite. That's my favorite. I have never, if you told me that this little girl, this almost 40-year-old little girl, was this complicated, I thought, no. Oh, yes. She is, Lionel Merch. She is unbelievable. She's Alexis Carrington, she's Dynasty, she's Sue Ellen, she's Dallas, and she's an idiot. And she's a little crazy, a little stonad, a little shingad, a little, you name it. She's a jadrul. She's a calculating buffoon. She's a lying, mendacious delusion. She's perfect. Absolutely perfect. And I'm not going to explain to anybody why I found her fascinating. I find her fascinating. Absolutely, without a doubt, fascinating. Because she doesn't know what she's doing. And she doesn't know how bad she seems. She doesn't know how. So that's that. Somebody asked one time, can you talk about something else? No, I don't want to. No. Go to somebody else's channel and say, do we have to talk about this now? Do we really? No. Now, I think I know you. You want to talk about her and you want to go through this and also go through what's happening right now, because sometimes I watched today, Candace she does almost like a genealogy. It is so thorough. I promise you. How many of you believe that half of the people don't even know half of what she's doing? I'll bet you anything. Erika has no idea who these people are. Changing of the dates and this and that. You see, when you watch her, she says stuff where you don't believe it. Have you ever met somebody who lies and you say, why are they lying about that? Like today, there was somebody found something and said, hey, did you know that? You know, when I read the Bible cover to cover, first of all, stop it. You read it cover to cover. It never happened. You know, you never read the Bible cover to cover. There are people I know who, I don't think they worry about numbers as much as others, but they might, but they be more the scholars. This is a lie. And when I was going to read the cover to cover, I turned to a friend of mine and said, hey, you want to join with me? Because some of that. I don't believe anything. I don't believe it. You had to lie about that. Say you want to Bible class. Okay, I'll give you that. But you didn't read the Bible cover to cover. People don't do this. That's like people say, I read the Constitution. No, you didn't read it because I read it. You don't read the whole. It's not. Candace says something which is very interesting. She says she walks into a room, or how does she say? And she doesn't know where she is or what her last storyline was. She doesn't even remember what this story was. It's true. She doesn't know what it is. Now we can argue about this, and I do think the word psychopath is used a little too much. By the way, psychopath, believe it or not, psychopathy is something that you are born with. Sociopath is what you are trained or you become. Psychopathy is actually, you can see in orbital cortex, you can see part of it behind the eye, you can see you can see organic structural differences in a psychopath. Let me give you an example, okay? There was a fellow named James Fallon. Still lives around. And James Fallon was doing something where he was doing a study on either Alzheimer's or something. And he took these fMRIs and he took these scans. And he went and he just wanted to do these tests. And somehow he got a hold. He went to prisons. And lo and behold, he got a hold. He went from doing scans on that to scans of prisoners and people who were, I guess you might say, people who were psychopaths, people known, not just bad guys, but psychopaths, really honest to God, legitimate, diagnosed, even the hair model, whatever the criteria you want, not weird, not narcissists, not behavioral disorders, but actual psychopaths. And he went through them and he found them. And he looked at their stuff. And he looked at their how do I say this? Their imaging. And what he did later on was he says, I want to see who's who. And he had like a blind, said, oh, look, here's Ted Bundy's or whatever it was. When he was looking at the scans, he took everybody in his family. He says, can I do yours as well to compare for control? So he took members of his family who did just basically brain scans. He did his own. At one particular point, he had their names, or the identifiers blocked out or taped off. When he was going through them, he says, oh my God, who is this? He goes, oh, this is terrible. He says, oh, look at this. And he looked at the brain physiology, the brain anatomy, the actual brain structure. He says, this is, oh my God, why is this in my Alzheimer's study? This person here is probably a serial killer. This is the worst person I've ever seen. This guy's terrible. Why is he doing? Why is this file here or this image? He takes the name off and it's his own. He's a psychopath. He is. And according to, he says, I'm the worst. According to his brain anatomy, the structures, this part directly behind the eye, the orbital cortex, that's this one part where they could see actual physical differences in this. He went to his mother and said, I can't believe this, but it says I'm a psychopath. Do you think I am? And she says, yes. Risk taker, callous, cold. He never hurt anybody, but he did something. And his wife and his other people said, yeah, don't you remember when you... And he never got into problems. And he believes that in some cases, when you were born with this particular, this penchant, this penchant, this tendency, this predilection, this predisposition, it's like a three-legged stool. And as long as there's three legs are there, it's fine. But if one stool becomes damaged, if one event happens in your life, if one event pushes you over, you may not necessarily exhibit it. And he never had it. A good family, loving, but he realized, oh, I'm one. I am one. I am one. And he seems to be very jocular, but he knows how to mimic he knows how to mimic emotions so you will trust him. He knows how to do this. He watches movies. He watches caricatures of people. He watches how people act. And he is not at all interested in anything you think of him. Not at all. Doesn't care whether you like him. Doesn't particularly think he's a great person. That's more narcissist. He doesn't care. Doesn't care whether you like him. He may lie, but may not. Why do people lie? Why do people lie? Why do people lie oftentimes about themselves in order to build their image up, to show grandiosity? That's what she does. Psychopaths don't care about that. They don't care what you think about them. Doesn't matter. They're not in to impress you. Narcissist. That's why I'm great. And there's also, pardon my French, bullshit artist. Just somebody who's just a plain old garden variety liar. A liar, narcissist, cold, evil, but not really there yet. You can be really nasty. You can be this mean girl type of, and that's kind of where she is. When she does this phony baloney Christian affect, she just says it, but doesn't have the belief in it. Have you noticed that? If you ever talk to somebody who says they are of faith, you can tell immediately when you talk to them. You know this. She doesn't have it. And she doesn't realize she doesn't have it. And she doesn't understand anything about it. Now, they're going to come after Candace so hard right now. Get ready for this. I know exactly what they're doing. I put out a video today. I hope you saw it. And they are going to go after her with a fervor like you cannot believe. And that's why she needs us probably more than ever. And let me tell you what you have to be in store for, what you've got to watch out for, because they're going to go after you too. They're going to make it very difficult. They're going to make it very difficult for you to be fans of hers. They're going to want to do everything in their power to ruin it for you. They're going to tell you that, oh, you're a Candace Owens fan. Is that this? Is that what you're doing? Oh, so you must be some anti-Semite. Is that what you're about? Is that what you think about? Do you hate? Is that it? Are you into hate? It's like, what are you talking about? You must be an anti-Semite. This is what they're going to tell you. And you say, what are you talking about? Well, she's an anti-Semite. Well, you said that. I didn't say that. Well, she is. And you say, but wait a minute. We don't talk about that. That's not, I'm sorry, I mean, it's interesting, but that's not our thing. There's more to her than what's going on in the Middle East or Israel or Iran or the United States or Jordan. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm not saying it's not critical. I'm not saying anything. This isn't the subject matter. There's a lot of stuff we don't talk about. We don't talk about the Trilateral Commission. It doesn't mean it's not important. We talk about the 4 things I told you: the crime itself, the identity of the culprit, of the perp, the motivation, which may or may not play into this, and finally, Erika Kirk. That's it. That's it. So they're going to come after you, and they're going to try to tell you, because they're desperate right now. They're desperate because they have to take what she's doing and they have to stretch it out into this whole thing. And she's entitled to anything she wants to say. Anything. I don't care. I don't care. Do you? Do you care? This is the most important thing around here. This is something which we don't really understand. Why I am supposed to be associated. Let me tell you what's going on. This is the oldest trick in the book. And as I told you before, and I will say this again, yes, there are anti-Semites, there are racists, and there are misogynists, and there are transphobes. There are all these people out there. So what? So what? I have nothing to do with that. What am I supposed to do? 2 examples. Number 1, remember PNAC, Project for a New American Century. Remember that? PNAC. This was the preface. This was the, how do I say this? This was the architecture, the blueprint of neoconservatism. That's what it was. Neoconservatism. Leo Strauss, and that one document signed by everybody from Rumsfeld to Richard Pearl. They basically said, remember this? What we need is a new Pearl Harbor. Right before World War II. I mean, what if I say? Right before 9/11. Right before 9/11. PNAC, Project for a New American Century. Oh my God. They bring up the name neocon. Neocon was basically the founder, the philosopher general of that was a fellow named Strauss, Leo Strauss, University of Chicago, and a lot of lapsed Trotskyites, former commies who believe in spreading. Trotsky was going out to spread the word of communism. Many of these people were Jewish, happened to be. It had nothing to do with it. There were a lot of New York intellectuals. They went to different schools and they were part of salons. That wasn't a part of it. When people like Pat Buchanan came along and he said, these are neocons, you know what they said? Neocon was code word for anti-Semitism. What? That's what it was. And we've heard this. They say, where did you get that from? Pat Buchanan, as many people believe, they have different theories as to world. I'm not going to belabor the point, but I want you to hear this. They have many theories as to the origins of World War II, why we were in, what the purpose of it was. And Pat Buchanan basically said, in essence, we didn't really need to get into World War II. What do you think they called Pat Buchanan? An anti-Semite. So what I'm telling you is, I think you know this, and please forgive me if I say something which you already know. But I've been through this, and I know what they're going to do. They're going to go after her hard. I mean hard. And she has this resilience. She just laughs. She just laughs. She doesn't care. She has some interesting stories about the derivation of the mafia, Hollywood, Judaism, or not Judaism, Jewish control, whatever. Have at it. Have at it. This is what I believe in. It's this little thing here called the Constitution. And you can believe anything you want in Alice's Restaurant. The Supreme Court said that the KKK could march in Skokie. The Klan. You can be a member of the Communist Party in the United States. You can be a member. You can be a member of anything you want. If there were a Nazi party, I don't think there is, but if there was and you were crazy enough to want to believe it, you could join it. You could join it. You could be an avowed Aryan. It's okay. It's an idea. It's an idea. We can loathe it, detest it, abhor it, despise it. But that's fine. That's the way it is. And they're trying to tell you something about this right now. This is the part which is the most critical. I've been doing this for a long time. And one of the things I've tried to tell people as a constitutional, I don't want to say scholar, but as a lawyer, is that ideas are protected. And ideas are speech. It's an idea that you have. It's a thought. You can think anything you want. You can imagine anything you want. You can have the most twisted, distorted sexual fantasies anybody's ever even heard of. You can be into frottage, multivalent lycanthropy. You can be into Troilism, undonism, caprophagia. Dear God, I hope nobody's. All right? If you do it, the moment it extends to an activity, the moment you extend to somebody and you disabuse somebody of their own free will, you are a problem. Now we don't care about the idea anymore. Ideas are protected. Protect your ideas. And in the case of our beloved Miss Candace, or Mrs. Candace, she is entitled to think anything she wants. And it has nothing to do with you might agree, and you're entitled to agree with her. Anything she says, knock yourself up. However, for purposes of what we talk about, our focus in our little salon, which is what this is kind of like a unique meeting of the minds, we tend to focus, we don't really get into politics. I mean, it might be important. It might be kind of a subroute. We are into her, TPUSA, the participants of TPUSA, and other things as well. I believe in something which is fun. I'm a fundamentalist, absolute, dyed-in-the-wool, 100% free speecher, and that means free ideas. Now, that may be a problem, but I don't care, and that's the way that is. Now, the next story is not the next story, but the next aspect of this. How long do you think it's going to be before somebody goes to Erika and says, now listen, that's it. It's done. It's over. You're through. You're finished. We can't do this anymore. We can't do this anymore. They're laughing at us. They're laughing. It's become the Shinola company. TPUSA used to, you'd see that logo and it was like, because it was Charlie. And now they're unearthing all of this stuff. Charlie said this and Charlie said that. And Erika said this. Did you hear the Vince Lombardi story? Vince Lombardi is there. Did Charlie know anything? The scam, the shill, the grift, the con. It's all being brought to the top, to the surface, and we're like scooping off the foam. Like when you make chicken soup, you just scoop the foam off, and when you scoop the foam off, you realize there's nothing there. This is nothing. There's no meat there. This is a fraud. And you notice she's really nowhere to be found. She's nowhere to be found. She's nowhere. You don't see anything new from her. Even the people like Dan Bongino. By the way, Dan Bongino. Somebody brought up a very good point today. They said, Dan had some health issues, which we, of course, wish him and everybody well. I think as moral people, many people as children of God or Christians or people of faith, we would never, ever laud or gloat or laugh about somebody's medical condition, especially, cancer and that sort of thing. But sometimes, perhaps, maybe, depending upon where it is, depending upon whatever, it can affect. I remember there was a case I heard about not too long, well, a while back. It was a woman who was brought in by the police. She was arrested for a variety of things, very violent behavior. She was very violent with the cops. And somebody said, something's wrong with her. They did a brain scan, and sure enough, she had a tumor in the part of the brain, which they said might have attributed to that. So we don't know. We don't know. But do you agree with me? There's something wrong with him. There's something not right. There's something we can sit there and say, Dan, just as an example, I know we're bringing this up again, but people really, I think he turned off more people. I think he turned more people off. I think he turned more people off than anything else. And I think he was emblematic of a lot of people who don't really understand what they're saying, who are told to hate and loathe Candace, but didn't really explain why. There's something very wrong with him. Very wrong with him. Very, very scary. We're in part 4 of this. Have you noticed we haven't, and this is Candace's episodes, we haven't even gotten to Erika yet. I mean, really and truly, haven't even gotten there. This is the grift. It makes it look, which is so systematic and so brilliant, her presentation. You're basically showing that the foundational aspects of her, the foundational aspects of Erika, is one based on deception and lies and kind of a Ma Barker, kind of like a familial. The number of people in her family who have been either multiple, not that multiple marriages isn't a problem, but multiple marriages, but kind of scammy, changing of documents. Who is it? Candace has to tell me one day, and I will never reveal this. Who is your research team? You've got some serious investigators here. This is not, how do we say this? How do I say this? We are not, there's no way that some producers can be sifting through documents from LLCs and, of all things, child support modifications. Normally that's all sealed because it's dealing with minors, but noticing that birth dates are wrong. And when she said, we're going to look back on, Lori Frantzve, I thought, okay, I had no idea. I mean, this is like a full-fledged, full-bore, full-tilt forensic autopsy of this family. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it is scary. It is absolutely scary. But what they're doing is they're saying, yes, but Candace is an anti-Semite. Excuse me. That doesn't work here. Listen to what she's saying about the mother. It has nothing to do with religion. Do you or do you not understand what is being alleged as to the grift, as to the shill, as to the lies? Are you aware of the allegations made, specifically regarding Erika? This doesn't make any sense anymore. You've worn this out. It's just plumb failed. It may have sounded like a good idea at first. Maybe you thought, whatever it was. But it doesn't work. I'm also going to say something to you, and I'm trying to, how do I say this? I'm not trying to, I'll just tell you the way it is. Americans right now are worried about a lot of things in their own lives. I think people are very interested in their own spiritual well-being, their spiritual salvation, their Mrs. L, by the way, my beloved, who, by the way, thank you for following her at Lynn's Warriors. I'll let her tell you this. She has been dealing with parents whose children have either harmed themselves. Yes, they all did, for a variety of reasons. Either they bought online, let's say something that they thought was a regular pill, but it was laced with fentanyl, or they were the subject of sextortion or bullying, and they eliminated themselves by virtue of social media. And the companies don't really care anything about it. And she can tell you one day. Follow her at Lynn's Warriors. And she will she has a gold coin that one of the parents gave her. It's a picture of her beautiful daughter. And they are just, they don't know what to do. And they are just flummoxed by how big tech cares nothing about it. So my beloved wife, is involved with this, and she said, and she noticed this, and what keeps them going? What is their anchor? Was their faith and their belief that somehow there will be peace, there will be justice, there is a reason for this, something that God or whatever in relation to Jesus, however they phrase it, will make sense out of it. I talked to somebody online last night on WABC from overnights. My age, he's 67 years old. Never, ever went to a church or did anything. Was hit with terminal lung cancer. He's told your days are numbered, literally. And he said, maybe it's hypocritical, but he says, I've readjusted or found faith again. I said, well, what's wrong with that? What do you mean? Why would you not? I don't want to give the old, there's no atheists in foxholes thing. But what I'm trying to tell you is that there is something very, very, very serious about this. This is serious business. And none of these people went on and reached out and sought faith because of some kind of a thing they did. Like, this week, this is my Christian era. This is my blonde. This is when I had highlights. This is when I was doing the pageant years. This is when here's my sizzle reel. Oh yeah. And then there's that Christian thing, which I gave that a shot, and that was pretty good. It's sacrilege. It's heresy. I don't even know what the word is. And that's the thing people should be worried about. Rather than people going after Candace Owens because she dares to say something which does not comport with a particular ideology, rather than worrying about, listen to me carefully, rather than worrying about allegations they perceive, I think incorrectly, that she is exhibiting regarding another faith, why don't you look at somebody who is, in my humble opinion, fraudulently compromising and co-opting the legitimacy of faith regarding Christianity? Why doesn't that bother you? Why doesn't that bother you? Why are you so interested in somebody saying, how dare you? You're an Islamophobe. What do you care? Are you a Muslim? No. Well, then, not that it matters. Do you see what I'm saying? Why is it that people care so much about this? Let's talk about her. Let me ask you, do any of you as a Christian find that this dog and pony show, because she will say whatever she has to say. She will say, you can tell from the way she speaks, from the way she speaks of either the Bible, Jesus, scripture, there's this, it's almost performative. Do you believe for a moment that she actually believes this? Now, who am I to say? Look, people can exhibit faith in a different way. But I've never heard, I don't believe any of it. I've never believed anything. And here's the question. How long is this going to go on, do you think, before somebody says, all right, that's enough? How long do you think? That is one of the most incredible things in the world. I want legitimacy. I swear to you, I don't care first, tell me that what you're telling me is the truth. Number one. I'll worry about whether I like it later, but tell me it's the truth. Because lying, but I would much rather you tell me the truth and hurt my feelings and then lie to me. I hate lying. I hate it. That's number one. Number two, look at what's happening right now. Look how your government, look how these various modalities are trying to turn on Candace. And they've never said one time that anything she said is incorrect. Never. They've never ever said at one moment that anything that she ever said was incorrect. Sean Hedman says, busy day, haven't even watched Candace yet, but when I saw you were here, I wanted to listen to you in conversation with your community. Yes, thank you so much. And the community is also the best, because the people who come here are the best. Somebody said to me, hey, listen, can you change your time? I want to watch Baron Coleman instead. I said, look, I don't, he's a fine man and I can certainly understand that, but no, I'm not changing my time. What is this? But here's the thing. And by the way, nothing but hats off, and kudos to the great people who are just breaking things down. The other day I saw a fascinating one. Who was it? Our buddy, Wolves in Finance. Oh my God. I think I say this with all due respect, and I mean this. I think he's kind of new to this. I think he just was introduced to this. You see, do you remember the time, and I think Candace is doing this, do you remember the time when somebody came along to you and said, come here, I'm going to tell you something. I want you to put down the history books for just a moment. I want to give you an example. Have you ever been to a movie set? Have you ever seen that? In fact, Rose Kissel says, I'm so tired of hearing the word demonic from the supposed First Amendment advocates. They speak like Judah. That's another thing too. I appreciate that. I hate, as do you, when somebody invokes this Luciferian satanic, this indictment. She's not satanic. First of all, that's again. I don't know if it'd be blasphemous against the devil, but you're using the wrong term. You're using the wrong term. She's evil. She's from hell. Remember what I told you. Remember what I told you. The worst thing you could tell her is, Candace, you're wrong. You're wrong about this, this, and this. Let me show you. That would destroy her. She wouldn't know what to do. But the insults are almost a validation, because you only take flack when you're over the target. But let me ask you this, going back to what I'm saying. If you went to somebody who says, you ever go to a movie set and you see, oh, it looks like a house, and you walk behind and go, no, it's not. It's just it's an edifice. It's a prop. That's what the government is. See, what you think runs it? No. That's just a prop. Behind it is the shadow government. Donovan says, I still can't believe Trump went to war the same year he was awarded the first ever FIFA Peace Prize. Nobel. Payment for the Board of Peace cleared. My friends, you can think whatever you want. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you the $1 million question. Those are very, very important issues. Do you think that's going to change anything here? No, believe me when I tell you this. Do you think that is something that's going to stop America in its tracks? Let me ask you a more important question. Out of the top of mind, out of what affects most Americans right now, what they're thinking, I'm not saying right or wrong. How many of you believe that any type of war in Iran or any type of battle or whatever the word, Operation Fury, how many of you think that that's top of mind for most Americans? How many? How many of you? How many of you believe that right now they run to the TV or run to their phones or run to the news to find out what's going on regarding that? How many people do? Now, I'm not saying it's unimportant. I'm asking you a question. How many people really, because here's what's happening. This is the most important. people were saying, I've heard this before. I've heard this about Iran. I've heard they're demonic. I've heard they're a ruthless theocratic regime. We've talked about regime change. There's this and about women morality. That's terrible. You hear people here in New York. You see some are dancing in the street. Iranians who want to go back. Remember the story about Operation Mossadegh or Operation Ajax, where Mossadegh was replaced with the Shah. But believe it or not, during the Shah, there were people who liked it. What I'm saying is, not as an Iranian, not as a Persian, but you've heard this. You've heard this story before. You've been told there will be some kind of military action. There will be some war with Iran. You've heard this. We've heard this forever. And now it's happening. And it's not the end of the world, thank God. It is serious. Anybody who dies. So what I'm telling you, no matter how much you think it is, and if you listen to certain people online, you will think that, and maybe it is for them, that this is the beginning and the end, the Alpha, the Omega, the Scylla and Charybdis of their worldview. That this is the only thing they think about. I respectfully submit they don't. It's not no, sorry. Nixon vindicated. Nixon has been vindicated for so many reasons, it's not even funny. Let me say this again. I know people don't understand this. I know what fascinates me, and I know it may not fascinate most people. Let me give you another issue. When people are growing up and they realize, do you mean to tell me there might be other organizations behind what we think is our government who might be calling the shots? Edie Crowley says, my perspective changed when my son-in-law told me he was in Afghanistan as a Marine guarding poppy fields. I'm a child of the Vietnam era. I'm a child of the Vietnam era. How many here remember the Vietnam? Are you old enough to remember that? I missed the draft by the hair of my chinny chin chin. And every night we watched Cronkite, and remember that, honey? They had the pictures of the people who died. And then everybody knew somebody. We had somebody who was in our neighborhood, maybe had an older brother or somebody. Oh, definitely. Definitely. I mean, it was something. It was like you, and we kept saying, what is this about? And it went on 10, technically 15 years. 55,000, 58, depending, even the numbers. And by the way, have you ever been to Washington and seen the Vietnam Memorial? Please see it. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? I didn't know this. I saw it for the first time. You know, there's this one wall that you see where people, it's so sad, they put up a piece of paper and they have a pencil and they sketch over, it's almost like a stencil over the name of their loved one. And they leave medals and teddy bears, and it's so sad. You've seen it, the wall, right? The wall is a part of walls that are all over the place. It stretches. That's one wall. That's the main one. I said, wait a minute, what are those? Those are the walls too. You never see that. And then you can see the World War II model, and the saddest of the sad is the Korean Memorial. It looks like it was abandoned. Think about this. Let me just give some numbers. Let's give you perspective. And please don't hold me to this, but let me give you an idea. Vietnam was, let's say, 55,000 in 10 years. Okay, let's just say 55,000, 10 years. Okay, 55,000, 10 years. Korea was like 53,000, 50,000 in 3 years. It was triple time. It was a short amount of time, but forgotten. Like it never happened. Big Dickie said, one grandfather in the Red Hall Brigade, peeling potatoes, went to Papua New Guinea. Well, listen, God bless people who did their thing. Candace said something today, which she said, don't let your kids, don't join the military. Let me ask you a question right now. Show of hands. Well, you don't have to if you want. Would you tell or advise your son today to enlist in the Marines? Would you? If they ask you, should I join the Marines today? Yes or no? Would you? Now that's not to say that you don't love your country, you don't want to defend your country, you don't want to carry the flag and go in and do this stuff. And no. Let me tell you something. No matter what anybody says, Hitler, World War II, that was the most incredible thing in the world. That was evil incarnate. That was the last war that was yes. People that I know people who just were lying to get it. 15-year-olds, sometimes even younger, joining the Marines to Iwo Jima, 15, 16 years old, getting off of a land carrier. And it was volcanic. The island, their feet were just like sinking. What is this? The most barbaric fighting you can imagine. And it was, oh my God. And nobody questioned it. Pat Buchanan might. And Vietnam, I still can't figure it out. So my question again is, would you do this? Would you do this? Can you honestly say this? Not you don't love your country. Not that you. But what am I fighting for again? What is this? So when Candace gives she has, I believe she has, I don't know, what, 3 kids? I don't know how many boys she has. But my son would be nowhere near that. Nowhere. Because they would not be fighting for their country. They would be fighting for something else. Because let me tell you something. Have you ever thought what it would look like if some force came to our country and attacked us? Rosie, bless your heart, says, I was a military wife, a military mother of 2 sons, an aunt and military nephews. No one cares when others lose their lives. I would never again recommend any of my children or nephews or nieces to serve. Every day Americans take their freedom for granted. I thank you for that and for your incredible generosity. And I agree with you 100%. Can I tell you what happened to me one time? How big is the threat of sleeper cells? I don't want to say anything. Have we ever heard of a sleeper cell? Have you ever heard of a sleeper cell? Have you heard of one? I mean, we've heard of them. I'm not talking about Iranians, but there are 2 billion Muslims. 2 billion. Thank you again for your kindness. I keep thinking about this. I love the way the Buddhists and Hindus do. I love that. I love the way they bow to people. I love that. We should do more of that. I do this to you. There are 2 billion. If 10%, just 10, a measly 10%, were a part of this jihadist, whatever you want to call this. If 10%, that's 200 million. You would be seeing derailed trains, forest fires, pipe bombs, tunnels explode. You would see this sleeper. It would be. We live in a hotbed. I can take you parts of Jersey City. You'll think you're in Beirut. You could be. Remember the joke? What do you think about Beirut? It was pretty good, but I think Hank Aaron was better. Anyway, so I could take you to other parts of Queens. You'll think, oh my God, like you never knew they were there. Never knew they were there. But there is a group of people in this country, my friends, who pose a greater threat. Do you know what it is? It's a group of people, not all people, but a significant group of people who want to come to our country and not assimilate, but replace cultures. Guaranteed. I know this. We've read the manifesto. It's very, very simple. Look at Dearborn, Michigan. Look at places where all of a sudden they were in Minnesota was Somalis. I have a friend of mine who is I've known him since I was 8 years old. 3rd grade. He is the most annoying leftist liberal. He loves everybody with when you hear him talk about what the Somali population did to Minnesota, he just you can't believe it. He says, calls to prayer in the middle of the night? Dearborn, Michigan? Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. And I said, oh my God. The ultimate. Listen to this. I have a friend of mine in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. This place. You should see these apartments. $2 million. They look like crap. It looks like an industrial. You think, where am I? Gary, Indiana? What is, not there's nothing wrong with Gary. Brooklyn, $2-3 million. I don't get it. This woman is oh my God. I don't know if she's fluid, but she is okay. But she's not a bad person. I don't. If I see good in people, you know what she told me? I almost passed out. I said, I can't believe I'm hearing this. She said, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I don't recognize my neighborhood anymore. Why? She says, because women are walking around in not a burqa. Burqa is Afghanistan. That's the whole thing. In a hijab or an abaya, this black, like an apostrophe. They're just walking, black eyes, nothing. She says, what is this? I said, excuse me, what did you do to my friend? She used to be a liberal. She said, I am, but this is something else. Do you see what I'm saying here? Listen to what I'm telling you. Our enemy is not in any foreign country. Our enemy is here. Here. And let me also tell you something. Remember this. Remember what Uncle Lenny tells you. Uncle Lenny. That Lenny kills me. When the Republicans are in power, the enemies are always foreign. When the Democrats are in power, the enemies are always domestic. When Bill Clinton was in power, who was it? Oklahoma City, Randall Weaver, Timothy McVeigh, David Koresh, the teabaggers, these constitutional weird guys out in the woods, these remember that? That's Democrat. They hate Americans. That's their enemy. Right-wing nationalists. Republicans, though, they go, oh, no. Our enemies are over there. They're terrorists and they're this. And say, excuse me. Because remember something. The left-right paradigm is an illusion. It's two sides of the same coin. Just different versions of it. You know who our enemy is? Here. The people who try to take away Candace's free speech. The people who are trying to take away our ability to speak. The people, not the government, who say you can't even write something on a super chat without, I've got a friend, he's Sparky. Sparky? Remember this? You'll see him. He couldn't write good. He has to write doog. And I kept saying, when he said, what the hell he was doog? He goes, they won't let me write good. See, it's not the thought police that bother me. It's the thought vigilantes. See, that's what scares me. See, I've been around when I was a kid, we had tolerance. Crazy as it was, we had tolerance. Do you know the Supreme Court in 1971 dealt with the book, The Anarchist Cookbook? Remember this? Have you ever read this thing? Oh, it's phenomenal. How to kill and use silencers. And oh my God. Supreme Court said, protected speech. Yeah. Remember Paladin Press? George Hayduke? Get Even? Oh my God, they banned it. It was great. Revenge tactics, how to make a silencer. Oh my God. Free speech, baby. But also this. We're Americans. And that may not mean anything to you, but it means something to me. And if you want to come to my country and our country and members of the conspiratorium, which is what you are, I bless you. You are a citizen, no passport required. Bring me your culture, bring me your language and your food. Oh my God. America loves that. We are heterogeneity. Any chance to check out the cipher code series? Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Interesting. Thank you. Stan Lippman says, demonetized but not demoralized. Right? Stan Lippman, by the way, if ever you see Stan Lippman run for anything, vote for him. The cipher stuff was very, very good. But let me explain something to you. As I told you, I cut my teeth on 9/11. And oh my God. I found out, don't go there. Keep going straight ahead. Don't stop and say, ooh, this is interesting. Nope, go this way. These are very, very interesting, fascinating. And I'm not suggesting anything about it, but I'm very leery of theories, whatever, that kind of go nowhere. We just kind of follow, oh, that's interesting. Oh, the Illuminati. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay. Yeah, the Knights Templar. Got it. Kubrick. Got it. Wait a minute. Stop. Focus on Candace. Don't talk about Kubrick or whatever it is. Not that that's what this is, but sometimes it's very, like our good friend, Mr. Wolves in finance, or whatever. You could tell he's new at this. He loves this. And it's fascinating. Big Dickie says, COVID, anthrax, or dirty bomb is scarier to me. Oh, let me tell you. No. You know, it's funny you say that. Rose Kissiel, God bless you, Rosie, says, I'm sure you heard, but you sound like Joe Pesci, and I'm here for it. I'm American born and raised, and it hasn't taken away from my Puerto Rican heritage. Oh, Boricua. Absolutely. Your heritage is wonderful. Let me tell you something. If ever I could take you on a trip, you come to New York, we'll get a big, like a huge, one of these party bus van trucks, and we will go on a food you will not. We'll take you to Ecuadorian, Chilean, Peruvian, Brazilian. We'll take you to Little Odessa. We'll take you to the Ukraine. We'll do borscht in Brighton Beach in Brooklyn. Pizza, you can't keep up with the pizza. You can't keep up with it. Little Italy, Little Korea. And we'll go to Astoria. The Greeks. I love these people. What did they do? They assimilated. They came and they brought what they brought here. They assimilated. You're an American. Welcome. When I see people get their, it's just, and the Irish, but what they want to do is they want to take away our culture, our language, our traditions, who we are. I'm not going to let that happen. Now, when you say that, there are people who say, well, now, by the way, if you're listening to me, you're going to say, well, this guy's a conservative. Do you think so? Do you think I'm a conservative? Do you think I'm a conservative? I don't think so. I don't even know what that means. But let me tell you what's going on. Have you ever asked yourself this question? Why is it that all of a sudden nobody seemed to care about borders? Why is that? Look at this. Rosie, born in New York State, never visited New York City. Rosie, you come here and we will take care of you. We'll just eat. You can't believe the food. You cannot believe the food. Now, why? Here's a great story. Number one, I want you to imagine this. This is the Democratic Party. This symbolic, this little baseball here. This is the Democratic Party. This is a virus. This is a shadow government. This is globalism. This is evil. This is the deep state, police state, shadow government, intel, ruling class, whatever this is. And it takes the Democratic Party, which was, whatever, and it goes in and it infects it, changes the DNA, and voila. The Republican Party, you'd have a difficult time doing that. So what they did was, just like the mob, just like the mafia, took over the Teamsters and unions. They took a very good organization, but they put their people in there. They came in, they said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have all these people come in. When they come into this city, we're going to do a biometric scan of them. We're going to make sure we know who they are. We're going to say, Pedrito, ¿cómo anda? Aquí. Look at this. Crazy says, top 5 must-read book, TIA, I'm American First. Books, TIA. Top 5 must-read books, TIA. TIA? Did I miss that? But thank you. Number 1, they come in and we tell them, okay, we are going to send you, Rosie, please, you get another donation because you said you wouldn't take away my heritage. I am American. My heritage has nothing to do with my loyalty to my country, which will always be America, and I will gladly die for this country. Absolutely. Thank you immensely. I don't talk too much about, I'm going to tell you something. I don't talk to you about heritage and all that because I'm American. But my grandfather was Boricua. He's a Puerto Rican. He never spoke English. I don't think he spoke English a day in his life. But he was an American, served in the army. Well, he's Puerto Rican. My grandmother, my Sicilian nana, we call her Nana, Angelina, Sicilian. My mother's side, Scotch, Irish, German. They were all over here, Germans and this and that. That's who I am. That's my thing. Raised in Tampa, in Ybor City. Everybody, we had Cubans, we had Italians, everybody. I had all my aunts and the only ethnicity I ever knew growing up were Sicilian. My aunts, my aunt Angelina, Pepina, Giuseppina, Susupina, Salikia, all these names and all these people. That's what I was. We were American. Everybody served. My father served. This one served. We were Americans. I never knew anything about it. They're like, yeah, you were Sicilian, but we didn't even have the hyphen. Italian spelled more of a, how do I say this? The Italian was more of a culture, not necessarily you were Italian. It had nothing to do with Italy. They don't want to go to Italy or Sicily. Hell no. That's like when the whole African American thing came back. And I would ask people, I said, oh, Africa, what country? Huh? What country? What country? Africa. No, it's a continent. Chad? What? Egypt? What are you talking about? All of a sudden, the hyphenation. Hated it. And by the way, let me just say something else because we're talking about this. There's a wonderful culture too, which I love. That's the Jewish culture. The attitude, the humor, the food, New York. I've got so many friends, it's not even funny. But they're American. They're American. And you know who one of the most patriotic people of all time? The mafia. Have you talked to them? These people, I probably don't like. They for different reasons. They love Trump. They want America. Yeah, they may break the law. Do you know that during World War II, Vito Genovese went and said, if you need help, and they said, we need help. We've got Sicily. Oh, we got no problem. Of course, it'd be some kind of deals with Castelfiero and Vizzini, but they wanted to get rid of Mussolini. The mob did more, the mafia did. And they were American. They fought. So there was a different time then. But they came. But the thing, you got to remember something, and this is critical. You see, the people, Rosie, well, first of all, you're Puerto Rican, you're American, and it's weird to explain. But you want to be here. You don't want to replace things. Here's something which you don't understand. I hate to break it to you, but English is the official language. I don't want to make anybody upset. That does not mean we don't speak elsewhere. That does not mean we don't. Oh my God. You want to hear, you go to the South Bronx, you would hear the South Side. Oh my God, you will be in areas where they speak nothing but Spanish. I can take you to parts of Queens where it's China. You should see the mall you haven't seen. Believe me, Anthony Bourdain did one the other day. I watched an old, but they're American, and they come here, and they're American. They're American citizens, and they get that, and they live here, and they bust their ass. And you should see. You can always tell a Chinese in Queens, a Chinese apartment, because there's like 20 pairs of shoes outside. Work their ass off. They're American. But they don't want to subvert. Well, let me go back to what I'm saying. So all these people come in. They come in all of a sudden, and we start changing the rules. You can vote. You can vote. You can vote. Here's your EBT card. Go somewhere else. Take a biometric scan. We're going to send you to Duluth. We're going to send you to wherever it is, to Ohio, because when the census comes around, we're going to change the voter populations in order to change. We want a permanent Democratic Party. We want to get rid of the filibuster. We want to make D.C. the 51st state, and we want to have a permanent. We want to pack the Supreme Court. That's their goal. They've said it. See, the enemy always tells you what they're going to do. They've said it. And that's exactly what they're going to do. That's why they were doing it. Because people were asking, wait a minute, what's going on? Why don't people care who they are? Because these people are going to vote. And you know what's also interesting? Believe it or not, when all these people came here, oh my God, it was wild. Remember that, honey? All the scooters and these. Who are these people? Listen to this. I had a friend of mine from Yemen, and he owned a smoke shop. And every day people would come in and say, can we work? You need a job? They were from elsewhere, South America. They wanted to work. They had families. They were actually good people. They're not what you think. It wasn't like, Scarface. So let me tell you what happened. You're going to love this. A lot of African Americans said, whoa, hey, who's this? Oh, we didn't tell you? Well, that's our new preferred Democratic target. So not target, but most precious or favored class. Why? They work. They have families. They don't. Very easy. They vote. We like them. And they're taking your position and your schools and your housing, and there's going to be an internecine battle. So guess who all of a sudden, listen to what I'm saying, guess who all of a sudden came over to the, for lack of a better word, the conservative or the Republican or the Trump side? Black Americans. Because they said, what is this? Might have been for different reasons. They did. Listen to this. Guess who were the most upset with this LGBT, the transgenders? Gays. Rose says, I can't afford you, Lionel. I just retired as a special ed teacher in 225 from Buffalo Public School System in a bilingual classroom. Kids were born here and still couldn't speak English. Thank you. You please do not enter penury. Thank you. I appreciate. Muchísimas gracias. Muchísimas gracias. I thank you for that. I've got a friend of mine who's a 4th grade teacher. Stop right now. Don't let me forget. Kids can't write. Kids can't sign their name. Kids don't play ball. Kids don't have depth perception. Kids don't know how to throw and locomote and hurl and propel. They don't know how to do this. They also can't read because they have machines that blast them with stuff. They also can't do analog clocks. I've told you this a million times. And Mrs. L will tell you that she has a friend of hers in a rather prestigious college where the professor said, don't what am I trying to say? Don't do cursive writing because we don't use cursive writing. People get anxiety when you use cursive. They don't know how to do cursive writing. So we're doomed. But anyway, but thank you. Gay people are saying, what is this? What about us? There were people here. Remember the Stonewall revolt? What, 69? Stonewall was a gay bar in the Village on, was it Sullivan Street? Thompson? No. It doesn't matter. The famous Stonewall bar. Stonewall Tavern. And it was the only place where gay people would come and they just leave them alone. Gay people had to go, if they wore a wig, they'd be arrested. They had to go to the meatpacking district just to be in these containers, these trailers where they would, where they would have these raw, freshly slaughtered carcasses and the smell of blood. This is where they had to meet and, whatever. Say what you want, but it's ridiculous. So, and by the way, the meatpacking district had a smell of blood. You can't believe it. In any event, guess who owned this place? The Genovese family. The mob. The mob said, you can come here and, you can drink and be relatively protected. Well, one day they came into the Stonewall and the police basically rousted them for the last time. And all of a sudden, somebody sounded the klaxon. And out of nowhere came hundreds of gay or non-gay or protesters, and the New York City police had to retreat. It was the most singular event in gay history ever. And the next day was the first gay pride. Now, whether you like that or not, there were people who were members of that, people in their 70s, who say, I remember being a part of that world at the time. And I don't remember any teas. They have been forgotten. So guess who's joining the Republican, if you will, or the conservative factions? Gay people. That's why when Trump was making his movement, his 2020 move, they had all these people who said, this is ridiculous because the Democratic Party was insane. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to replace anybody with a permanent Democratic Party. That's the goal. It's that simple. They wrote it down. They want to go in. They want to change everything. Filibuster, 51st state, pack the Supreme Court, permanent Democratic majority, and that's it. And then what do the Republicans do? Nothing. So let me go back to this. Fundamental to our country is the ability to speak. And if you don't like Candace Owens, don't listen to her. If you want to go someplace else, go someplace else. You want to join TPUSA, go ahead. Doesn't matter. Nobody's telling anybody not to give. Nobody's telling Dan Bongino he can't trash her because it's not the military. It's not the military. It's not the thought police that bother me. It's the thought vigilantes, the people who are like self-appointed. I've been through this. And we're not going to put up with this. And we're tired of this. We're done. And we're tired of phonies. And if we want to talk about Erika Kirk, so be it. And if I'm saying something that's wrong, you're saying something that's wrong, I'll tell you, and I'm sure you'll tell me. But we're not. So the most important thing about it, though, is that we're right now, and by the way, we've been talking about a lot of things right now, but do you understand where this is? Where this is? Somebody says, but Lionel, what does this have to do with Candace? I guess I haven't been explaining this very well. I'll do my best. It has everything to do with her. I want to go back to what's going on here. Number one, when it comes to what she is saying about war, she's entitled to her opinion. You're entitled to yours. I don't understand. If you can say you're for invading or blowing up or destroying Iran, if that's okay, then I can say I'm against it. This is axiomatic. This goes without saying. I want to ask you a very simple question. I want to ask you a question. And I don't mean to be in any way sacrilegious, but remember the old expression, WWJD, what would Jesus do? I'm going to ask you a question. What would he think, or what does he think, about what we're doing? You notice how we are able to just talk about war like it's nothing. that we're not killing people or babies or citizens. We're stopping something else. We're involved in some, I don't know what the word is. We're involved in some kind of, what's the word? I don't know. I don't know what the word is. We're involved in some kind of a noble effort, a noble movement to stop terrorism. Yeah, that's it. Terrorism. We're stopping terrorism. How do we do this? How do we do this? And I want to ask a very simple question. What has anybody done to hurt me? Now listen, if you want to get back at countries, there are ways to do it a lot differently. You can destroy their grid. You can use Palantir and other super duper wild AI and intel programs to basically, counterfeit their money, destroy everything, hit them with everything you can imagine. But why do we want to do this? Why? Why are we using, 19th century, we're blowing things up? Why do we want to do that? Why? Let me also ask you a question. I got to ask you. You might say it's a good idea. If that's what you think, you're entitled to that. One of the greatest things that we ever do was we have this thing called regime change. See, what we'll do is we'll get rid of this guy. And then when that guy comes in, all the other people say, okay, it's okay. You can all come out now. Now vote in freedom and vote the guy that you want. And everybody will be happy. And you'll thank us later. And be not mistaken. There's a lot of people out there here in New York who are ostensibly very happy. Iranians and Persians who are loving the fact that they want to go back and they hate this theocratic thing. Okay, that's fine. Some people say, well, then if you don't like it, then overthrow your country. Other people say, no, we can assist. I don't want to argue that. The point I'm saying is listen to what they're saying. Listen to what they're saying and talk about it. Ask yourself, what are we doing? How do we do this? Did you know that Afghanistan happened to be the largest deposit of all places, of all things, believe it or not, interestingly enough, it was cobalt, whatever, but also lithium. It was the Saudi Arabia of lithium. And we need lithium for all kinds of computer components and the like. The same thing with rare earth metals, which is another story too. See, Gerald Celente one time said, what would have been the chances of our going to Iraq if their main export was broccoli? You see what's going on? Clinton Flynn says, just who are the characters behind the forced immigration happening over much of the West? Ah, yes. Well, one of the things is that it is the virus, if you will, Democratic Party. They're doing this. They're not only, listen to this, not only do they want people to move here undocumented, untethered, unwatched, unmonitored, but they're also going after, and by the way, thank you for that, they also want to go after those individuals who are trying to prevent them. ICE. ICE is a very scary situation. And why is that? The problem is, I'm going to read this thing to you. ICE is not a, how do I say this? He is not a, ICE is not a, it's not a police force. That's not their thing. They're very, very, how do I say this? ICE is very, very militaristic, and they're very quick in terms of getting people and moving them out. And so all of a sudden we have people from every Democratic city and town saying we will fight the federal government in ICE. We want them out. Now, could the ICE people have been better? Absolutely. Were they rough at times? Absolutely. Did they pick up the wrong people? Absolutely. That's true. And your point is what? How do you enforce people who won't leave? And the problem that we have right now is that there is this difference. We don't want there to be an obfuscation, a misdistinction between police and the military. The police and the military, civilian police and the military. And there was this great line from Battlestar Galactica. Remember Adama, Edward James Olmos, he says, there's a reason you separate military and the police. One fights the enemies of the state, the other serves or protects the people. When the military becomes both, then the enemies of the state tend to become the people. And that's one of the things which goes back to what I said. The Democrats hate, of all things, Americans. They hate law. They hate order. Well, they like disorder if it causes problems. They hate the Constitution. They hate the idea that you keep telling them they can't do something. They think that when you exert some type of behavior or control, you're like Candace is some kind of you're an anti-Semite, or you're a white nationalist. Or no, we can't do that. We can't ever confuse the two. Can TPUSA turn around if Erika steps away? Absolutely. It is number one. She has to step down, move out, and not return. That's number one. Number two, they have to tell people what it is they're doing. They have to tell people these are our programs. This is what we're doing. These are our this is our Bible studies. This is our outreach. This is our working with pregnant mothers. Or do something. Quit selling hats. Quit doing that. Hi guys, our merches. Do something. Be Christ-like. Be philanthropic. Be beneficent. Be charitable. Be Christian. What are you doing? What are you selling? That's exactly what they have to do. That's exactly what they have to do. And they know the answer. But they also have to get rid of these crazy people. Get rid of this thing called the Charlie Kirk show, which they do, which is horrible. It's so mealy-mouthed. There is no Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is dead. You killed him, whoever you are. So you better figure something out, because his memory is not lasting. My friends, I've been speaking to you unencumbered for 1 hour and 22 minutes. No commercials, no breaks, no nothing. No script, no prompter, nothing. Just the spirit of our brotherhood. Okay? And I want to thank yous. Erika is sufficiently exposed. She is gone. And I'm sorry to say that she is gone. And we have to realize one thing, and I'm going to go back to what my emphasis in our discussion has never been political up to now. It's been mostly about identifying fraud and getting rid of it. But there comes a point, though, when you have to realize, okay, what is that which motivates us? What is it that we find so objectionable to Erika, and why? I think we have basic beliefs that we all share. First is religious freedom. Number two is religious respect. Number three is a respect for law and order. And number four is an appreciation for truth. And number five, as long as your particular truth and all of the aforementioned don't in any way impede upon somebody else's, this is very libertarian sounding, but as long as it doesn't impede upon somebody else's right or ability to express their own selves, fine. That's the way that goes. So I thank you. My dear friends, to all of you who have been with me for 1 hour and 23 minutes, I thank you so very much. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everything. Thank you for following my beloved wife. Wait till you don't know what she's doing. I don't want to speak for her, but her work recently, especially with the parents of kids who are no longer with us by virtue of this horror, these horrors on social media that nobody seems to care about. I'll let her tell you. So follow her at Lynn's Warriors. That's Lynn's Warriors. Show her your support and your love as you have shown me yours. Thank you for all of our super chat friends. Thank you so very much. You have been an absolute joy, and I thank you for that. I'm going to have some questions later on to follow up on this. Please like the video. That's very, very important. People love that liking the video business. Sounds very sad. I'm saying, we like my video. But it helps us get into that HOV lane of acceptability and the like. Also, please subscribe if you haven't already. And I say a happy Monday night to all of you friends. The second day of March. I can't believe spring is around the corner. I think March 9th is daylight saving or savings. I never can remember which one is it. It's one or the other. So that means spring is around the corner. That means a new everything. Thank you, my friends. I love you to death. Thank you. We'll talk again. Always like, but always subscribe. Also hit that little button so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And listen, and to Candace Owens, we thank her because she brought us together. We will continue to support her and her ability to speak unfettered and unencumbered and unedited and unexpurgated and unyoked by these people who want to shut her up because they don't like what she has to say. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious night. Until next time, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Oh, tonight, don't forget, overnights, WABC. Monkey's dead. Show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.